This is Angel Stadium. These are people wearing red. They're clapping their thunder sticks together. They hope to have no need for the rally monkey. They hope to force a game 6 on, I don't know, Tuesday night in Chicago. And off we go. The starting lineup for the White Sox is sponsored by Taco Bell. Scott Podsednik leads it off in left. Tadahito Iguchi is batting in the number 2 spot again. Jermaine Dye. Paul Konerko cleans up. Everett the DH. Rowland at center. Pierzynski at catcher. Creedy at third. And Juan Uribe is the shortstop batting 9th. Baseball fans, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. And with that, Paul Byrd throws his last warm-up toss. And the right-hander who won 12 games during the regular season and won game 1 of this ALCS is on the mound, and we learn more about the veteran right-hander.
Well, when you think of Paul Byrd compared to any of the White Sox starters, he's in no way like them because he teases hitters with balls off the plate. And as we said in game 1, he has the most unusual changeup that any of us have ever seen, a one-fingered changeup developed during the season.
Podsednik first up, and it's a strike over the outside corner. Scott last night walked 3 times and tripled. He has a 10-game hitting streak against Angels pitching. Slashed foul. It's 0-2. The White Sox have outscored the opposition in the first inning 12-2. And this postseason, when they score first, they're 5-0. Ball 1. Byrd in that start went 6+, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits, a walk, a strikeout. Creedy hit a home run against him, but a 3-2 win for the Angels in game 1. 2-2.
That's that one-fingered changeup we were talking about.
It's a very effective pitch, especially to left-hand hitters.
Pretty good pitch. That's good enough. 1 away. Byrd almost got him on the pitch before that. See how the Angels cover the field. It's brought to you by State Farm. Rivera in left, Anderson in center. That's a change. Garrett Anderson agreed to play center before tonight's game. Guerrero in right. Kennedy is the second baseman. He has not made an error in 24 career postseason games. He's joined by Figgins, Cabrera, and Erstad, with Benji Molina doing the catching. 1 out, nobody on, and here is Iguchi. White Sox up 3-1. The Astros up 3-1 with a 2-1 win today over St. Louis. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The field's got a little bit of that sawdust on it. It rained a little bit here this afternoon.
It poured from time to time last night. On the outside corner, strike 2. Because of the forecast after last night's game, they actually covered the field. As Lou talked about, you can see that diamond dry, and Iguchi is hit again. He was hit last night. The infield has that diamond dry on top of it. It's 1 on, 1 out as Byrd hits Iguchi up in the ribs.
That was a ball that just got away from Paul Byrd. It looked like a slider that just slipped out of his hand. And for the second night in a row, as you said, Joe, Iguchi is hit.
So Iguchi is on, 1 out, and Jermaine Dye steps in. Dye so far in this series, 3 out of 15, 2 RBIs. Ball 1.
For Byrd to be effective, he's got to be able to pitch inside, and that's exactly what he's trying to do here early in the first inning.
Good rip by Dye, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. It's Paul Bird and Jose Contreras tonight. Ozzie Guillen before the game telling us he hopes his club has to stay around for an extra hour tonight so they can celebrate. He wants to win it here in Southern California, does not want to run the risk of getting this series back to Chicago and giving the Angels any life. Strike two.
Sosa on the other side loves deep dish pizza. And the best place to get it, Chicago.
Best deep dish pizza in the country.
And I'm sure Mike eats a lot of it.
He loves it.
Lou, you say that affectionately.
I like it myself. I like Mike Sosa.
Here's 1-2 pitch. Dye is jammed. And a little flare. In comes Rivera. Can't get to it. Aguchi holds at second. Rivera very deep in left, and Dye is on with a flared hit. He was jammed. He got enough of it to get it beyond Cabrera and in front of Rivera.
You would think that that ball had enough hang time that it's got to be caught either by Cabrera or Dye. Or I should say Rivera. If Rivera can't get to a ball like that, then he's too deep. I mean, when a pitcher makes a pitch like that and gets that type of hit, you've got to catch the ball. Somebody's got to catch it.
I think it was more the left fielder's ball than the shortstop ball. That ball went out there to short left field. I don't know if the outfielder got a good jump or what, but I agree. The ball should have been caught.
So it's 2 on with 1 out for Konerko, who has gone deep in the first inning each of the last 2 nights. Bird wanted that pitch, didn't get it, and asked Ed Rapuano where it missed. Ball 1.
Yeah, Konerko's hurt the Angels more than any other hitter in that lineup. They've got to find an answer for him.
Konerko with 31 first inning RBIs during the regular season. That was the best in Major League Baseball. 5 this postseason, and there's a strike.
Good slider that backed up, stayed in the strike zone.
Bird and the Angels trying to keep the White Sox off the board here in the first. 2 on, 1 out. Scooped up by Molina, 2-1.
You can get Konerko to chase as long as the breaking ball has the illusion of a strike. But if the breaking ball stays in that strike zone, Konerko can extend on it and do some damage.
We've seen that the last 2 nights. 2 breaking balls, 2 3-run homers.
Both on 3-2 pitches. That pitch was hittable, and Konerko fouled it back. 2-2. A new sensation and an old sensation for Konerko and the White Sox. Back-to-back 40 home run seasons. And the sensation for the White Sox has been home runs in the first in games 3 and 4. And he has a chance here in game 5. 2 on, 1 out, and a 2-2 count.
Lou talked about it in game 1, how Konerko cuts down his swing with 2 strikes.
That's in the air to right. Guerrero is there, 2 down. Higuchi tags and will make it to third. First and third, 2 out.
Pretty good swing there by Konerko with 2 strikes. Stayed inside the ball and lined it. Unfortunately, right at Guerrero. He's been impressive in this series, no doubt.
So the Angels get past Konerko. The relay by Cabrera too late. We talked when we came on the air about the difference in last night's game, according to Ozzie Guillen, was Aguchi tagging and advancing a base on a fly ball to center by Dye last night. And at this point, it's a small thing. It could be a big thing if Paul Bird bounces one here to Everett.
It's a bigger thing, too. You've got the first base hole open now. You've got to hold the base runner. When you got runners on first and second, your first baseman can be deep. So that's a big advantage with the left-hand hitter up for the White Sox.
Everett with a chance to put Chicago on top. John Cooper just making sure the phone works to the bullpen. He hasn't had to use it. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Looked like Everett, with that leg lift, fouls one off his right knee. See how close that right foot is to home plate. But as the pitch is on its way, he opens up.
Runners at the corners, 2 out, and Everett pops it up. Paul Byrd has done something the Angels haven't been able to do the last 2 nights. Hang a 0 in the first. Angels trying to stay alive. Come to bat. Take a look at the lineup for the Angels. It's a little different tonight. And you look at the stat that will roll into the bottom of the list. Figgins, Cabrera, Anderson, Guerrero, Erstad, Molina, Kochman in there again, Rivera, and Kennedy. No Finley. His bat is on the bench for Mike Scioscia. That lineup sponsored by Taco Bell, and at the bottom it showed you that this Angels team is hitting 177 in the ALCS. They scored a total of 8 runs. Figgins, every time he looks up, it's 0-2.
That's a nice aggressive swing by Figgins on that pitch. You know, the Angel hitters face a little bit of a predicament here. They can't afford to get overly aggressive because they haven't walked much, but they don't want to get themselves in these 2-strike situations because they'll have to hit Senor Tombolina.
Is that the forkball?
That's the name for the Cuban forkball.
Senor
Tombolina.
Tombolina. Not to be confused with Thumbelina.
Exactly.
Sounds like something you'd order from a Cuban restaurant.
There's the Thumbelina, and it misses low for ball 1. Cabrera will follow, then Garrett Anderson, a late switch to this lineup. Figgins in the air to right center field. Rowan, 1 out. Scouting report on the man who possesses Thumbelina.
Jose Contreras with a world of confidence. He's lost only 1 game since August 15th. A devastating forkball. Now the difference, for those of you who may not know, the difference between a forkball and a splitter is a forkball is held back in the grip. The splitter is held more toward the fingertips. So fingertip splitter, forkball, as you can see, back between the index finger and the middle finger.
Ball 1 up and into Cabrera. Taking a strike, it's 1-1. One of the reasons that Mike Scioscia thinks this lineup is struggling, and Lou, you brought it up to him, only 2 walks handed out by the White Sox to Angels hitters. Here's a pop-up, and Contreras off the mound to grab it for out number 2. With 2 out, nobody on, we look at the White Sox and how they cover the field. It's brought to you by State Farm. Podsednik, Rowand, and Dye in the outfield. Creedy, Uribe, Iguchi, and Canerco on the infield, with Pierzynski doing the catching. And for more on that late lineup change, which includes the man digging in at the plate right now, Garrett Anderson, let's go to Chris Myers.
Hey, Joe, at the last moment, Mike Scioscia wanted to put Vladimir Guerrero in the cleanup spot and Garrett Anderson third because he wanted to go lefty-righty throughout the lineup against Contreras. And hitting coach Mickey Hatcher told me that Guerrero had his best batting practice of this series before the game. They had their pitching coach throw Guerrero low pitches so he could feel his legs more and compress his swing. Hatcher said Vladimir's confidence is key. All it takes is 1 swing to turn this around. He said, forget about desperate housewives. These are desperate Angels on a Sunday night.
Here's a pitch down and in to Garrett Anderson. In fact, Scioscia said it could turn around even on a foul ball back to the screen. if he feels like his timing is back. That's Guerrero. This is Anderson, and he is way out in front. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. What we were talking about, if you look at this replay, is Socia said, well, it's one thing to not get walks, but if you wait around, they've been so good with first pitch strikes against us. You look up and you're in the hole. Anderson.
It's quite a predicament.
Coming into the game, the Chicago White Sox had thrown 81 first pitch strikes in 127 plate appearances. 65% of the strikes on the first pitch.
Anderson trying just to get a piece as he's been out in front of the last 3 deliveries. Still 1-2.
As compared to the league average of what, Timmy?
59%. You don't want to get bogged down with numbers. The whole thing is when you're throwing a first pitch strike, the odds of getting a hitter out go up dramatically.
Anderson, another foul. Yet I think it's nice of Lou to give you the opportunity to get that stat out since you had your abacus and your protractor and compass out figuring that out before game 5.
I did it longhand.
With the bases empty and 2 out. Anderson, not much hard from Contreras in this at bat to Garrett Anderson.
One thing I've noticed here, the fans are more into this ball game earlier than the other two. They're waiting to explode if the Angels can just supply some hitting punch.
Well, the White Sox took them out of the game in the first inning in games 3 and 4.
On 1-2, Anderson finally gets a pitch to hit, and he dumps it into left.
After all of those fork balls, he jams him with a fastball and kind of bloops one into left field. I think the thing about Vladimir Guerrero, what he's been doing is pulling that left side. That's probably, for major league hitters, the worst thing that they could do and the most prominent thing that they do when they're hitting poorly is letting that left shoulder fly if you're a right-handed batter.
1 on, 2 out. Guerrero off the end of the bat, pops it up. Shallow right center field. Iguchi is there, and Vladimir Guerrero is now 1 for 17 in this series. He has 1 RBI this entire postseason. They can't get some pop from Guerrero yet. Second inning, no score. Aaron Rowan got a hit last night. He's 2 out of 15 in this LCS, and he takes on the inside corner strike 1, and he's surprised to find out it was a strike. Home plate umpire Ed Rapuano. 0-1 pitch. Line down the right field line, slicing into the corner. It's a fair ball and a double. Good start for the White Sox here in the second as Aaron Rowan gets his 3rd hit of this series.
Fine hitting by Rowan. It appeared the ball hit on the line or very, very close to it. Angels fans are trying to pull it foul. Just inside the line.
Now that was a fastball on the inside part of the plate. He just stayed inside of it. Good piece of hitting.
Here's A.J. Pierzynski.
Pierzynski's job here, obviously, either get him in or get him over.
He is a career .395 hitter against right-handed pitching in the postseason. Last night he hit a mammoth home run into center in the 4th, and he's bunting. And Molina makes the play, 1 out. Sacrifice is good, 2-3. And Tim, you talked to Ozzie Guillen about bunting early, and they're trying to get a run on the board for Jose Contreras.
Bunted early 2 nights ago with Iguchi in the first inning. That turned into a 3-run home run. Now a fine bunt. Normally you don't do that with your 7th place hitter for the bottom of the order, but the bottom of the order for the White Sox, Joe Creedy and Juan Uribe, 2 pretty good RBI men.
They've been productive. Although I don't think Ozzie gave him the bunt sign. I think Pierzynski did that on himself.
Runner at third, one out. Infield is in, and Creedy takes a ball inside. I know some managers have that sign that leaves it up to the hitter. Get him over any way you can. If you want to bunt him over, bunt him over. You want to try and pull it, but it's up to you to get it done. And Pierzynski dropped down a bunt. Runner at third, one out. Infield in. Creedy takes inside. It's 2-0. The team that has scored first has won every game of this LCS to this point. That obviously includes the Angels in game 1. The 2-0. Flied into center field. Rowan will tag and put the White Sox on top. Garrett Anderson is content to just flip it back into the infield, and it's 1-0 Chicago here in the second. So Creedy knocks in his 6th run of the postseason, his 5th in this ALCS. A double, a bunt, a sac fly, and a trivia question. Our Lunesta trivia question. Other than Adam Kennedy, which 2 players have also hit 3 home runs in a single LCS game? Kennedy did it back in 2002 in the clincher against Minnesota. The base is empty, 2 out. Uribe shows bunt, takes a strike.
When your starting pitching has been as good as the White Sox for the first 4 games of this series, you play the early innings like the late innings. And that's what Ozzie Guillen did, playing for 1 run in the second. Unusual, but effective.
0-2 on Uribe.
It's called fundamental baseball. Double, get them over, sacrifice fly, 1-0 lead.
They don't know what to do when it starts to rain in October in Southern California, but it's raining. Just adds to the ambiance here tonight at Angel Stadium. To the left side, Figgins charges it. Off we go into the bottom of the second. The Angels will bat with Erstad, Molina, and Kochman coming up. 1-0. The White Sox trying to clinch it on top. That's what the White Sox are trying to do here tonight. Take it on home and wait for the winner of the Astros and Cardinals for this year's World Series. The Angels would like to accompany them home for Game 6 on Tuesday night. World Series will start in the American League ballpark after the win by the AL in the All-Star game. Here's ball 2, 2-0.
Feel like you get ahead of Contreras. Feel like a free swing is coming up. Erstad will look inside.
2-1.
It's a bit of a surprise taking on that pitch. I mean, you get him in that situation, you want to swing at that ball.
Well, the ball was out away from him just a little bit.
As is that. Now the count's even, 2-2. When Contreras was struggling earlier this season, they picked him up back in July of 2004, and then he started this season really struggling. Ozzie Guillen pulled him into his office and he said, just close your eyes, and when you open them, when you're on the mound, picture yourself pitching for Cuba against Italy or Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. See, I think Darren Erstad took himself into a strikeout then. That's the one thing he can't do against Contreras. You take 2-0, and a couple of pitches, you foul the ball off, and now you got to hit this thing. And this thing's nasty.
It is nasty.
1 out, the strikeout of Erstad, and the batter will be Benji Molina. For the Cuban national team, Contreras put together a record of 117-50 and an ERA of 2.82. He was 2-0 during the 2000 Olympics, and he was the pride and joy on the mound for Fidel Castro. Molina is jammed and he grounds to Uribe. He has time. 2 out.
In that Olympics, he threw 160 pitches in one game and pitched 2 days later and pitched a complete game. 160 pitches, had 1 day of rest, and then won a complete game.
Do you think, Timmy, that they had pitch counts in Cuba?
I think they had a lot of Senor Tombolinos.
Well, if you ask Azaguian, he'll tell you the reason why he pitched after that one-day arrest is because Fidel Castro called
Right.
and told the manager Contreras is pitching.
We need a win today.
So Fidel Castro spoke and Contreras pitched and did his job.
Pretty powerful pitching coach.
Yeah. That power trumps Steinbrenner's power. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, nobody on. Kochman checked his swing and fouled it, strike 2.
Or Trump's power. Trump's power. How about his comments about Alex Rodriguez today?
Well, they were somewhat surprising. I'm going to call Alex next time Trump builds a casino or golf course or another tower, that Alex give him some advice.
Donald Trump saying on a radio show that Alex Rodriguez puts up the big numbers in games that don't count, don't matter. So even Donald Trump's piling on A-Rod. We're through 2 innings here in Anaheim with the rain falling. Contreras through 2 shutout innings has a 1-0 Chicago lead. Once again, our Lunesta trivia question. Other than Adam Kennedy, which 2 players have also hit 3 home runs in a single LCS game? The answer, Bob Robertson, 1971 for the Pirates, Game 2 in San Francisco, and George Brett in 1978 against Pinellas Yankees for the Royals in Game 3 at Yankee Stadium.
What a hitter George Brett was. He had the prettiest weight shift of any hitter I've seen in the big league level the past 15, 20 years, 30 years.
Baseball swing just like a golf swing, huh?
Just like a golf swing on a different plane.
Here's a 1-1. Setnik takes up an away ball 2.
In fact, when I was managing in Seattle, Lee Ely, our hitting coach, would take a couple of our hitters at times to a golf pro to get them to get the feel of shifting back and shifting through and releasing the club head. And it helped.
That's a scam. You bought that as a manager?
I sure did. Either that or my hitting coach loved to play golf.
Yeah.
Use it as an excuse.
Look, Lou, I've got to take these guys to the golf course. We've got to straighten them out. And we're playing spyglass. But don't worry. We'll get their swings straightened around. Come on, Lou. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the second baseman, Kennedy. 1 away. That'll bring in Iguchi, and the rain picks up a little bit.
Never hear of any golfers showing up at the batting cage, though, do you?
Well, actually, we had Tiger Woods. He was good friends with Ken Griffey Jr., and Tiger Woods would come over and take batting practice from time to time.
How'd he look?
He looked fine. Took him a few swings to get adjusted to that wood bat, but he lined the ball around the field, and I told him, I said, we can give you an at-bat once in a while. He said, no, he says, I'm happy just with the BP.
Yeah. 0-1 is the count on Iguchi. There's a flaw to Angel Stadium. The rain actually lands in the broadcast booth. There aren't many umbrellas out. A lot of these people probably don't even carry umbrellas around with them. See some that look like they were purchased back in 1972. 0-2 pitch. Iguchi takes it inside. Ball 1. Chris, more on the rain.
It's coming down a little more steadily and a little heavier than the cameras can actually catch, Joe. In fact, the groundskeeper met with the umpires in between innings. The tarp was over the field over last night. The rain is supposed to clear through the area. Last rain out, in case you're wondering, in Anaheim, 95 against the White Sox. Never a postseason game rained out here, and of course it never rains in Southern California.
During the break, that's Jerry Crawford, the crew chief, along with Randy Marsh. And they got the weather report that Chris just gave us. 2 out here, and the base is empty for Jermaine Dye. Umpires have been heavily involved in this series and talked about a lot. And after today, with a game in Houston between the Cardinals and the Astros, they'll be the focus, at least one of the focuses of their game 4. If you see an umpire somewhere, just go up and hug them. They need love. It's been a rough October.
Tony La Russa run from the Cardinals-Astros game, as was Jim Edmonds, the center fielder.
Here's an 0-2 from Bird. Wow. Right on cue.
You noticed how Molina just held the ball there, but he had to cross the plate to get the strike.
Wow.
But when you cross the plate, you often don't get that pitch. If you're setting up inside, you have to cross the plate to the outside, you don't get it. But that ball was a strike.
Either hug an umpire or hug Scioscia. He's getting tired of being on the short end of these calls. So the inning continues and the count's 2-2 on Jermaine Dye with Konerko on deck. Too far inside, it's a full count. And now Ed Rapuano turns and yells back at Scioscia. It's a full count. Dye singled his first time up. It was 2 on for Konerko, who flied to right, and then with first and third 2 out, Everett popped up. And in the second, a double by Rowan, a bunt by Pierzynski, and a sac fly by Creedy. And it's 1-0 White Sox, top of the third. Three-2 to the third baseman Figgins. Long throw, takes his time, and shows a good arm. Good play. Down go the White Sox for the first time tonight. 1, 2, 3. Rivera, Kennedy, and Figgins coming up for the Angels. Down 1. In a murder rap. The action returns Monday, October 24th. Here's a base hit down the line. Podsednik juggles it. Rivera's going to try and stretch it and make it. Good start to the third for the Angels.
Very, very good base running by Rivera, knowing, since he plays left field, how wet the outfield is. Would be a tough throw for Podsednik, who has to pivot to make the throw. Good base running by Rivera.
Well, Mike Scioscia juggled his lineup around tonight to get the bat of Rivera and the bat of Kochman in there. And to do that, he sat Finley. So Rivera starts this third with a double. That's how it's scored. And here's Kennedy.
White Sox are looking for a bunt. I wouldn't bunt here. You got Figgins on deck. He's been struggling. He has a tough time hitting a fly deep enough to get the runner in anyway.
Kennedy, a 300 hitter during the regular season. But they are shortened up, the White Sox are. And a throw down to second will head into center. Rivera to third. The throw by Rowan, too late. And Contreras just did for the Angels what Kennedy was up there to do, which is advance the runner.
And you can see Uribe saying, come on, come on, come on. That's a daylight play. When there's daylight between the runner and the shortstop, the pitcher throws to the vacated base, knowing the shortstop's going to be there. The throw is low. And Rivera to third on an error by Contreras.
That's one of the few mistakes the White Sox have made in this series.
This series with runners in scoring position, 2 for 16 are the Angels. They hit just under 300 during the regular season when they won 95 games. Kennedy fouled, strike 1.
In this situation, if you're the White Sox pitcher, all you want to do is get out of this inning, give up the 1 run, and go on to the next inning. A younger pitcher might try to get out of this inning with no runs being scored. Before you know it, you got a big inning going.
Rivera is just the second leadoff man to reach in the last 20 innings for the Angels, and now he'll score. 1-1 on a base hit by Kennedy.
Contreras, like a lot of guys who throw the splitter and the fork ball, when they work from the stretch, they don't have the body the movement in the lower part of the body and the high leg kick to get the fork ball down. They're more inclined to hang it. And this is a hanging fork ball laced to left center by Kennedy.
Contreras has been his own worst enemy in this series. He tried to turn a double play and a ball hit back to him in the third inning of game one. They couldn't turn it and a run scored. Happened to be the difference in the game. And now here the throwing error leads to the RBI hit, and now Figgins will bunt, at least try to, strike one. Here's a spot where if you're Sean Figgins, you're not getting on base. You're not adding to the attack, and all the Angels need him to do is get the ball down and get Kennedy into scoring position for Cabrera, who's been so good with runners on in his career in the postseason.
He had one successful sacrifice in game one.
You got to add to the attack any way you can, and Figgins gets it down. The throw by Creedy, thought about trying to get Kennedy, and Figgins does his job.
Good fundamental baseball by the Angels, and Figgins laid down a really nice bunt.
Creedy had an idea about going to second. I think shrewdly went to first.
Well, I mean, if you go to second, even if you get him, Figgins is on.
Yeah,
he's going to run.
Right.
Contreras can't hold anybody on anyway, so you might as well take the sure out.
Sure.
Opponents 30 out of 32 in stealing bases against Contreras this season, including the postseason.
And the one thing Adam Kennedy will do, he won't steal second base, but he'll steal third.
Here's Cabrera. Orlando 6 RBIs this postseason. On the first pitch, he grounds to Uribe. 2 out. And it's going to be up to Garrett Anderson. So here's the switch that Mike Scioscia made within an hour before the start of tonight's game. He flip-flopped Anderson and Guerrero, putting Anderson in the number 3 spot. And here he is with a chance to put the Angels on top with 2 out in the third. Anderson took Contreras deep for a home run in game one. Ball one. Back in game one, a no-doubter off the bat of Anderson starting the second. They got a run there. They got 2 more in the third and held on for a 3-2 win. That gets away from Pierzynski and probably a pass ball. And it's 2-0 on Anderson. And it's a big deal with that runner at third, Tim.
That's right. With the fork ball thrown by Contreras, he led the major leagues in wild pitches with 20, sharing that dubious honor with Freddie Garcia, who won last night. Did this ball hit the dirt? No, it did not. Should be a pass ball.
Curious to see what he does with Anderson here. Same sequence, the first at bat. With 2 strikes, he lined a fastball to left field. Stayed with the split finger, forkball.
3-0. They've ruled that a wild pitch, but clearly that should have been a pass ball as Pierzynski just boxed it. Anderson taking a walk.
Well, this is a wonderful opportunity here for Guerrero to jumpstart the Angel offense.
This is what he has done time and time again. Reaching for it, off balance, one ground ball after another.
Yeah, all those swings have one thing in common. That left shoulder's just not staying in there long enough, and he's reaching for the ball. But what a talented young man. In fact, when you look at Guerrero, the 2 guys that swing the bat the hardest in this league are this guy and Gary Sheffield.
And yet Guerrero's always been a consistent hitter. He's hit .300 every year and every month within every year. And yet here he is, came into this game with a career .196 batting average during postseason play. Only one RBI in this series, a chance to give his team the lead. Strike one.
You know, during the season, when a player gets in a rut like that, as a manager, you can sit him for a day or two, so you can relax. Playoff time, boy, you just stay in the lineup. You've got to hit your way out of it.
To the shortstop, another ground ball. Uribe throws to Iguchi, and Guerrero has not helped this Angels team at all in this ALCS. We go to the fourth inning. The Angels have tied it. It's 1-1. Paul Konerko first up for the White Sox, and Konerko is 0 for 1. He's driven home 6 runs in this series, and he gets under this ball into left. Juan Rivera is there. 1 out. The Pepsi Power Hitters home run leaderboard for the postseason. Konerko is on the list. He's gone deep 4 times. Garrett Anderson 3 times. His teammate Benji Molina 3 times. For the White Sox, A.J. Przinsky with 3. You think you've got the heart to homer with the best and score points at record speed? Log on to foxsports.com on MSN. Keyword is Pepsi. Here's Everett. Good breaking ball from Bird for strike one. They've now changed that wild pitch that they initially called against Contreras to a passed ball last half inning. It's academic. 0-2 on Everett.
Curveball, fastball away. Often the first pitch of a sequence is not the pitch designed to get a hitter out with. You show him that pitch and then go to other pitches.
And now Everett is having a little discussion with Rapuano.
We've talked about it before, but with 2 strikes, Everett will spread out a little more and do away with the leg kick.
And he wraps a base hit into center with 1 out. Go-ahead run is on for the White Sox here in the 4th on an 0-2 pitch. That'll bring in Aaron Rowan. Everett is now complaining to Tim Raines, his first base coach, about Ed Rapuano.
Here's what you're talking about, Lou. The leg kick, the high leg kick on the second pitch, fastball away. And now in the this is the second pitch strike once again. And now the 0-2 pitch, no leg kick.
No leg kick. Using his hands more.
Good breaking ball from Bird for strike one. Rowan doubled and scored his first time up. 13 home runs during the regular season. Played the heck out of center field, and Ozzie Guillen believes he should be a Gold Glover. That misses, a ball and a strike.
Early September, the Yankees and the White Sox played a series at Yankee Stadium. The White Sox won 2 out of 3. And I think Aaron Rowan in that 3-game series showed the city of New York how center field should be played. He was everywhere.
And not only the city of New York, but the media up there. And
right.
So many members have votes for postseason awards, and Aaron Rowan is trying to win a Gold Glove. Last outfielder for the White Sox to win a Gold Glove, Ken Berry, in 1970. 2-1.
Certainly one of the outfielders in the American League that deserves recognition, but there are a few others. Torrey Hunter in Minnesota can really go get the ball. Vernon Wells in Toronto,
who won it last year.
I had a guy in Seattle that really played center field well, Ken Griffey Jr.
I've heard of him.
Yes, sir. And then we traded Jr. for another real good center fielder, Mike Cameron.
A little better try on the pickoff throw, but Everett's back.
And I know Mike had some problems physically this year. I hope he's fine. They had that incident where he and the left fielder ran together.
Just nasty with the Mets.
Collision with Beltran in San Diego in right center field, low to the ground, a horrible collision.
That is a hanging breaking ball, hooked foul, crushed by Rowan. So as you look at Aaron Rowan at the plate, here's more about him. Childhood idol Walter Payton, favorite actor Matthew McConaughey, favorite band you're listening to Linkin Park, favorite vacation spot Jamaica Monk. All that bundled up in Aaron Rowan. And a nice play by Kennedy up to grab it. And he had to time his jump right, and he did. 2 out.
If you jump too soon on a ball like this, you're coming down as the ball's going up. Nicely done.
Really nice play. I thought he had just enough to get it over the infielder's head.
Good base running by Carl Everett. There are some runners who'd be doubled up on a play like that.
Now Everett's at first with 2 out for Pierzynski, who's greeted with boos every time he walks to the plate. Off the hand, shallow left, Rivera coming. He's there, and the inning is over. A hit by Everett. He's left at first. White Sox have stranded 3. Adam Kennedy showing some ups and some leather. Still tied at 1. Bottom of the 4th inning. Tied at 1. A pitch up and away to Darren Erstad to start from Jose Contreras. It'll be Erstad, Molina, and Kochman. Anybody gets on Rivera, who scored the only run tonight for the Angels, driven in by Kennedy last inning. Hard hit, nice pick by Konerko to his left, 1 out. During the break, we visited with a pitching coach for the Angels, Bud Black. Well, Bud Black, you have to be awfully pleased with what you're seeing from Paul Byrd. I saw he had a little meeting with some of the players down at the end of the dugout before those guys went out on the field, as Finley gives you a little shoulder bump. He's trying as best he can to get some life down in that dugout, it seems.
Yeah, Paul got the guys together right before he went out and gave him his best new Rockney. Hopefully it works. He's throwing the ball well, so let's hope it continues.
What is it that you look for to tell you that he is pitching and has his good stuff tonight?
If he's throwing the ball inside and getting in on some people, choking off their swings, which he's done tonight, that shows me his fastball is crisp, his breaking ball is getting in on their hands. That's usually a good indicator that he's throwing the ball well.
And as you guys face elimination, who isn't available, right? Your whole bullpen is stocked down there.
We got everybody. Hopefully, we're thinking that maybe Nolan Ryan or Frank Tanana would come back, but we got everybody down there.
All right, thanks, Bud.
All right, guys.
That includes Jared Washburn. And it includes what could be a long night as Molina loses his bat. Could be a long night for Kelvin Escobar, who, according to Mike Scioscia, if it was necessary, could give the Angels 4 innings tonight. So far, so good from Byrd.
Well, Escobar hasn't pitched in the past couple nights, so he's nice and rested.
Was a starter at the beginning of the season. Here's a 1-2 from Contreras, 2-2.
Thought it was an interesting comment Bud Black made about choking off the hitter's swing and getting inside. The last 2 outs the White Sox made, Aaron Rowan, the nice play by Adam Kennedy, and then he gets inside on Pierzynski to end the inning.
The 2-2 to Molina, lined, caught by Uribe, but he throws anyway. It's the series with extra outs, and that's the 2nd out of the inning. Uribe I believe he thought he caught it, but just to make sure he didn't play umpire and threw it on to first, and with Molina running, an easy out, 2 down.
Every player on the field will make sure on any balls that are close to the ground. It's an easy call.
John Lackey is out in that pen tonight. As it stands right now, if this series continues, you know, the next 2 starters for the White Sox, Burley and Garland, and for the Angels, they would love to not have to dip into Washburn and or Lackey, and they could use those 2 for games 6 and 7 in Chicago. With 2 out, here's a 1-0 to Kochman. 2-0.
Well, that's a luxury that Mike Scioscia doesn't have. Whoever is available tonight, whoever he needs, he needs to bring into the ball game.
With 2 down, Kochman was looking to rip, and it's 2-1. Well, Kochman wasn't waiting around, Tim, for a 2-0 pitch. He was ready to hack.
Yeah, 2 out, nobody on. You want to put the Angels ahead. Take advantage of the count.
Kochman 7 home runs during the regular season, hit over 300 after he was recalled in August. Now it's 3-1, and he can look to hammer it again.
Earlier in the year, you could crowd him a little more with the ball, but after he came back from the minors in August, bat was much quicker.
Don't want to crowd him now. 3-1.
And a 2-out walk. Second walk in as many innings to the Angels from Contreras. This day in baseball history, October 16 of 1974. Kenny Holtzman, who hadn't hit all season, belted a 3rd inning home run against the Dodgers in Game 4 of the World Series. Is the winning pitcher with help from Raleigh Fingers in relief. For more MLB info, log on to foxsports.com on MSN, keyword Budweiser. 1 on 2 out for Juan Rivera, who has doubled and scored. Strike 1. Rivera, a former Yankee prospect, and he has gotten better every year swinging the bat. To the point where tonight, with the Angels facing elimination, Scioscia wanted to get his bat in the lineup. .93 miles per hour. Rivera in the hole 0-2.
That was a nasty 2-seam fastball. The 2-seamer running into the right-handed hitter and away from the left-hander. Doesn't mean he'll throw it.
Hanging pitch, and Creedy catches it down the line to end the inning. A walk, a man left. Angels have left 4. We go to the 5th, game number 5, tied at 1. Back after this from your local station. Paul Byrd will face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the White Sox in the 5th, a tie game. Creedy first up. Not only has Creedy come up with some big hits, and he has an RBI sac fly tonight, but he's played a very good third base for Chicago in this series.
Excellent.
From Westphalia, Missouri, he takes it down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, talking to Ozzie Guillen, talking about the good pitching he has.
Here's a test for Figgins, who gets it with a backhand. Wow.
But he gives a lot of credit to the White Sox defense for the good pitching that they have. And you look at their baseball team, they've got above average defenders at every position.
And Guillen was known for his defense when he played for 13 years with the White Sox, and then ended up bouncing around a little at the end of his career, finished with Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves. With one out, here's Uribe, and there's a ball up and in.
You know, Ozzie was a character as a player, and he's still a character as a manager.
The owner of the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf, calls him the Hispanic Jackie Mason.
Here's a pitch down and in, 2-0 on Uribe.
I mean, you start looking forward to the meetings with him. He's hilarious. Not a tight bone in his body.
Here's a 2-0 with one out. Uribe takes the strike. Played with the White Sox from 85 to 97. That's hard hit and past Figgins down the line. Uribe will end up at second base. The throw there. Uribe is safe as he gets around the tag of Adam Kennedy.
What a great slide by Uribe. That was a changeup by Paul Bird, fielded quickly by Rivera.
What a great throw by Rivera.
Yeah, it was.
Now anytime there's a close play, you wait for the replay. And according to Jerry Crawford, the right hand of Uribe got on the bag before the tag. Then the left hand ends up on the base, out at second. Uribe is there, one out. And the batter is Podsednik. Strike one. Strikeout, a ground out tonight, and he is doing what the Angels need Sean Figgins to do in this series. Get on base, make things happen, steal a base. Podsednik scored 4 runs. Figgins has yet to touch home plate. Figgins 1 for 15 in this series. 1 ball, 1 strike on Podsednik. The 1-1. Way outside. 2-1 with Iguchi on deck.
I think Juan Rivera is too deep in left field. Scott Podsednik had no home runs this year, 2 triples. And the one thing you do not want is an opposite field flare to fall in front of you if you're the left fielder.
Two and two.
When I'm managing and you got a runner in scoring position, I always have my coaches instructed, take a look at the base runner, make sure he's not doing anything different to alert the hitter what's coming.
Right now, Uribe is out there. Podsednik is at the plate. Uribe, Cabrera, and Bird all looking at the sign flashed by Benji Molina. Looks like Podsednik's trying to go the opposite way, and the count's still 2-2.
He's a line drive hitter, and when you hit the ball the other way, you use your arms. When you pull the ball, you use your body and your arms. That's why you can afford to play shallow in the opposite field, particularly for a guy with not a lot of power.
Plus, Podsednik is off deeper in the batter's box, further away from home plate.
2-2. Another one fouled off to the left. You saw Shields getting loose for the Angels out in their bullpen. Regular season, you wouldn't even think about it, but Bird is approaching 70 pitches on the night. He's pitched well, but there is no margin for error. Two again from Bird. And he can't put Podsednik away. Only 25 RBIs for the leadoff hitter for the White Sox, Podsednik, during the regular season. He homered against the Red Sox in Game 1 of the division series after going over 500 at-bats during the regular season without going deep. Not close, full count.
Tried the backdoor breaking ball there and got away from him.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming to Podsednik. Podsednik works a walk, and he did work for it. 2 on, 1 out. First walk handed out by Bird, and we look ahead to tomorrow night. Game 5 of the NLCS between the Cardinals and the Astros in a rematch, as Chris Carpenter will make the start. A front runner for the Cy Young Award. He'll be on the mound for St. Louis, and Andy Pettitte will go for the Astros. That's tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific here on Fox. And the Cardinals trying to win to get the series back to St. Louis. If the Astros win tomorrow night, not only are they in the World Series, but the current Busch Stadium will have seen its last baseball game. It'll come down 2 weeks after the Cardinals are finished this year, however deep they go into the playoffs. Here's Iguchi. A double, a walk, 1 out. And Shields is ready to go if the Angels want to tap him on the shoulder here in the 5th. Off balance, Iguchi pops it up. Rivera is there for out number 2. And now it's Dye.
Excuse me, Joe. You think about how difficult it is to hit, and that left shoulder flying out of Iguchi while the slider's going away. There's no way to put solid contact on it. The slider goes away, the shoulder pulls out.
Yeah, a little bit of a quick hip, too, front hip.
2 on, 2 out. Dye could put the White Sox back on top. That's into left center field, and he has done just that. Rivera cuts it off, a run scores, and the White Sox are up 2-1. A 2-out base hit by Jermaine Dye in Chicago regains the lead here in the 5th.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Shields in the ball game right now.
That's exactly what's happening as Jermaine Dye puts the White Sox on top. And had Cabrera come up throwing, they have a shot at Dye at second base. Uribe scoring the go-ahead run.
So the Angels facing elimination tonight. See Bird get into the 5th. He leaves with 2 outs in the inning. And the White Sox lead 2-1. Here is Scott Shields. He's thrown just under 10 innings this postseason in 7 games. He has a rubber arm, and he is so valuable now picking up for Bird here in the 5th inning. The White Sox have regained the lead, have second and third, 2 out, and Konerko up, and he takes a ball.
Yeah, Mike Scioscia obviously liked this matchup better. Shields with more velocity.
After making the change, Scioscia stayed out there for a moment to talk about the situation. First base is open. Konerko waits for a 1-0 and hits it in the air to left. Rivera is back at the track just in front of it to end the inning. The fans here at Angel Stadium held their breath as that ball fell short and into the glove of Rivera. Uribe started the rally with a 1-out double. Jermaine Dye put Chicago back on top with a 2-out RBI double. 2-1 Chicago after 4.5. Contreras and the White Sox have the lead again. It's 2-1, bottom of the 5th. 9-1-2 for the Angels. Kennedy, Figgins, and Cabrera. If anybody gets on, Anderson. Game 5. White Sox up 3-1, and the count goes to 2-0 on Kennedy. An RBI hit for Adam his first time up. 3-1.
I think with a guy like Kennedy up there, you may see him take 3-1 also. Make Contreras throw 3 strikes in a row.
Full count.
Scratch that, thinking. Some analysis, huh?
That was stellar.
Thanks, Joe.
On 3-2, Contreras, Kennedy, Creedy, tough play. A hop, a throw, a hit.
Joe Creedy with too much to do. Ball's going to his right. He goes to his right. Jumps, throws, too much to do in too little time.
I wouldn't be in too much of a hurry to bunt this guy over here now. Figgins is a pretty darn good hitter, even though he struggled. The chances of him hitting into a double play are very, very small. You know, I know in postseason managers get conservative, but boy, I'll tell you this, I would take my chances with Figgins swinging the bat here.
Figgins is 1 for 15 in this series. And he does not tip his hand early if he's going to bunt. He never squared around as Contreras threw over.
I think it would be a major surprise if he doesn't bunt here. The way he's been swinging the bats.
Let's see how Socia wants to play it. Hit and run. Figgins into right. Down the line. A hop. It's interfered with by a fan. And that takes a run off the board. A fan reached over, and Mike Socia, here we go again, is going to run out and argue that cost, with that fan interference, the Angels a run. And had that stayed in play, there is no doubt that Kennedy would have scored. Now the umpires are going to get together, and we'll see if, in the umpire's discretion, they give Kennedy home plate. It's a tie game. The Angels get a call, mark it down, here in the 5th inning of Game 5. And Lou Piniella, you said to keep aggressive, stay aggressive, and that's even more than you were calling for. That was a hit and run double into right.
Good play by Socia. Why change the things that you've been doing all year? Now, the only thing I question, they gave the runner home plate, and rightfully so. Figgins would have had an easy triple on that ball.
And there's no doubt that fan reached over and in front of that small wall down the right field line interfered with it. Kennedy would have scored easily.
Particularly with the circular, with the cutout right there in right field. Ball's not going to come back to Jermaine Dye, right back to him. It's going to rattle around. Kennedy would have scored easily. Good call, Lou.
And so now with Figgins the go-ahead run at second, nobody out. You've got Cabrera at the plate.
Now do you bunt?
I bunt here.
And so does Socia as Cabrera takes a ball low. The other side of this is you've got a guy in Cabrera who came into this game hitting .432 in his career in the postseason with runners on. He's one guy who does not appear intimidated by the glare of the spotlight in October. At first pitch, he showed bunt. It's 2-0.
He's getting himself into a good hitter's count here.
Updated to .421, Cabrera's average in the postseason with a man on. And in this case, Figgins is already in scoring position.
You know, they're not holding Figgins on too much.
Now they swing, and Cabrera chops it to Iguchi. Good play. Terrific play by Iguchi, and Cabrera advances Figgins to third, one down.
Good baseball.
Good play by Iguchi in one motion, throws out Cabrera. Now the White Sox have to bring their infield in.
We go back to that ball down the line and give you a two-box look at it. Kennedy was over halfway to third when the fan reached over and interfered, and then it's up to the umpire, and they awarded Kennedy home plate to tie it. Now it's Figgins at third, one out, as the Angels try to take their first lead of the night. It's up to Garrett Anderson with the infield in.
I think they go on contact here.
Strike one from Contreras.
Even with the infield in.
Even with Guerrero on deck. Because the way Guerrero's swinging the bat.
This postseason, Garrett Anderson 3 for 4 with runners in scoring position. That bounces in there, and what a terrific play by Pierzynski as he turned himself into a wall.
An A.J. Wall. For those of you who may not know what going on contact is, if you're the runner on at third base, you've got to cheat home, land on your right foot with the ball's in the hitting area, and go home on a ground ball. Anything in the air, you retreat to third.
Figgins with great speed at third. A 1-1 pitch. Not close.
Yeah, he's as quick a base runner as there is in the American League, and probably in all of baseball.
Rain starts to fall again. 2 balls and a strike. Go ahead run at third for the Angels. 1 out. Good pitch from Contreras. Pulled the string, and Anderson evens the count 2-2.
Anderson way out in front of a ball out of a strike zone.
Yeah, in this situation here, look, Garrett's a very professional hitter. Trying to stay up the middle, left field with the ball. Stay on it as long as you can.
And he shoots one into right field. Deep enough to get Figgins home. And the Angels will take the lead. Facing elimination here in Game 5. They're on top in the 5th.
Now that's given the fans something to cheer about.
For the Angels, it's their first lead since they won Game 1. Thanks to the dominant pitching from the Chicago White Sox.
Missing, and then the count 1-1. The fork ball misses, and on the 2-2 pitch, he puts the Angels ahead.
Now 2 out, nobody on for Guerrero. 0-2.
I like that swing. He's struggling, but he's still aggressive.
And messed up. He is messed up.
Good hop on that fastball, up and out of the zone. 1-2 from Contreras. His career average, Guerrero's .324 during the regular season. A .188 in the postseason. Only 9 career postseason hits, one of which left the park. 2-2. So here are the Angels. They're in their bullpen. They've got Shields in the game. They've got Escobar ready for a long night. They've got Frankie Rodriguez ready for extra innings tonight if need be. And they lead in the bottom of the 5th 3-2, trying to get this series back to Chicago. Another ground ball off the bat of Guerrero. And the inning is over, but not before the Angels take their first lead. A leadoff hit by Kennedy, who has now driven in a run and scored a run. An RBI double by Figgins, who helps out. And Anderson puts the Angels on top with a sac fly. 3-2 after 5. Still raining here in Southern California. Game 5, 6th inning, and Shields is back to the hill. And Everett, a swing and a miss. The combination for Scioscia figures to be Shields now Escobar setting up Francisco Rodriguez, and Escobar is starting to get loose out in the pen for the Angels. 0-2 on Everett.
Sosa made a very timely pitching change in that 5th inning. It really paid off for him.
After the double by Dye, he went out and got Bird, and Shields got Konerko on a deep fly to left. Foul by Everett. Our WebMD health update will be coming, and that centers around Bartolo Colon and the muscle in his right shoulder. You wonder what this series would be like were Bartolo Colon healthy, but he is unavailable and probably will be for the rest of this postseason. Everett grounds to first. Erstad with a backhand pickup. 1 away. You can check out your own symptoms as well as learn more about common sports injuries at symptom.webmd.com. 1 out in the 6th.
We've talked about the good shortstop, middle infield play in this series, but boy, I'll tell you, both Konerko and Erstad have done a wonderful job defensively at first base.
Erstad has done that throughout the postseason if you consider the play he made to end the division series on the diving stop to his right to get Matsui and wrap up that set. Here's Rowand, and there's a ball.
Lou, you talked about that change the last inning. There's such a disparity between Paul Bird and an 87-mile-an-hour fastball and Scott Shields, who throws 94 and 95. Two completely different pitchers.
In postseason, I like velocity.
We touched on that last night, that you would take the power pitcher in the postseason as opposed to the finesse guy.
Yeah, remember, it's middle of October. These guys have played a 162-game schedule. They've traveled across country a few times. The bats start getting just a little tired.
To his left, Kennedy. 2 down. We go back to the 2 starters, and during this LCS, we've taken a look at how the starting pitchers have held up velocity-wise with the ExxonMobil Speed Pass Speed comparison. Contreras has hit 95. Bird tops out. That's Paul Bird, 86 miles per hour, as hard as he threw in the 3rd inning. But still effective, and he got into the 5th, kept his team in it, and now with Shields on the mound, the Angels lead against Contreras. Here's Brzezinski. Ball 1.
That was a decoy on that take. A lot of times hitters who are looking to pump the ball out of the ballpark will come up there and be so nonchalant, then be swinging on the 2nd pitch.
He is here, and the count evens 1-1. Strike 2. Brzezinski checked it. 2-2.
Watch Benji Molina after the curveball in the dirt. Not only asking third base umpire to check, but he was ready to tag Brzezinski.
Now at 2-2. Tailing pitch, and Shields started to head off the mound. It's a full count. Shields thought he had him.
Yeah, he drives that fastball in off the plate that works itself over the inside corner.
With 2 out, 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball gets him.
And he knew it.
Shields doing his usual fine work. He snaps one off. Gets Pierzynski. What a pitch. Bottom of the 6th inning. Angels bat leading by 1. Bottom of the 6th inning. Angels bat up by a run. Down by 2 games in this ALCS. And Erstad pops it up. Shallow right. And Dye is there for Chicago. 1 down. In the middle of the 5th, we had a chance to visit with Don Cooper, the pitching coach for the White Sox. Well, Don Cooper, you have your big horse on the mound, Jose Contreras. What do you see so far? Do you like what you see?
Yeah, so far so good. He's throwing a lot of strikes, and that's what we always look for from him. Seems to be commanding his fastball pretty good, and when he does that, he's always in a position to throw his forkball.
We talked to Ozzie, and he's not concerned, or at least he wouldn't admit it, about guys coming out of your bullpen that haven't had work in so long. Are you concerned at all about that in a tight game?
Not really. I mean, you know, the big concern was the other day with Garland getting 12 days. The bottom line is, however, you're going to have a lot of energy, and you got to harness that energy. And that energy is a good thing. And if you can harness it and drive it to the glove, it could be an unbeatable combination.
Well, last question. Tell me how your pitching has been able to shut down Vladimir Guerrero.
Quality pitches, you know, maybe we caught them at the right time, but, you know, that combined with our pitching staff and what they're doing with the amount of quality pitches, that's the key.
Carl Everett's awfully playful down there, isn't he?
Yeah, I wasn't sure who it was.
That was Everett.
Yeah, well, Widger's grabbing onto me, too.
Well, thanks for your time.
All right, guys.
The playful side of Carl Everett came out in the 5th inning, and now with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th, it's a 1-2 count on Benji Molina.
The White Sox pitchers have done a nice job of pitching Molina, staying away from him.
This one is there to hit, and Molina hits it on a line to Podsednik. 2 out. Let's go down to Chris Myers, who's standing in the rain.
It's just drizzling slightly, Joe. I talked to Benji and Jose Molina before the game, and Benji's elbow is still bothering him, especially when he extends his arm when swinging the bat. He's wearing extra padding there, some Advil and a special wrap. But Jose told me that his mother called him from Puerto Rico last night, said she was mad at Jose and Benji, telling him, "You guys need to get on base. You need to score runs." Jose said, "Thanks, Mom."
With 2 out and nobody on, here's Casey Kochman. And I'm sure that call could be made to Yadier Molina, the Cardinals' 23-year-old catcher, and the same message would be delivered that they need to get guys on base and get some runs.
Reminds me when I managed in Tampa Bay, my mom would watch the ball games and call me and help me to manage after the ball games.
Really? Pitching moves?
Pitching moves, bunts.
Back after this from your local Fox station. Seventh inning, 8-9-1 for the White Sox. Preedy, Uribe, and Podsednik against the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Angels, Calvi Escobar.
Loser of game 2 on the split finger fastball to who else? Joe Creedy.
And he leads it off, ready to rip. Strike 1. After the controversy, which happened here, the stolen base by Pablo Ozuna. And with 2 strikes, Creedy hit a double. And the series was even at 1-1, and now he shoots one to left. In the air and gone to tie this game. Creedy goes deep in the 7th, and it's 3-3. Creedy jumps up and bites Escobar yet again.
That appeared to be the same pitch.
I think this was a fastball.
Do you? Same location.
Same location.
Wow. Creedy has tied it with his 2nd home run of this postseason. And that gives him 7 RBIs.
That was a fastball.
And that was pounded. Ooh. Here's a 1-0 to Uribe. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Boy, did he turn on that inside fastball.
Good-looking young player. Getting better and better.
Now Orlando El Duque Hernandez is getting loose for the White Sox as Uribe is in the hole 1-2. Shields went an inning and a third, all zeros except one strikeout. Escobar comes in and gives up a leadoff home run to Creedy. Now a 1-2. Uribe is gone, one away.
Good fastball to tie up Uribe.
Now back to the top of the order for Chicago. Podsednik is up with Iguchi next. The Angels will have Rivera, Kennedy, and Figgins, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters in their half of this seventh. Infield in on the corners. Podsednik takes a ball.
But Sednick gets on here. He can run on Escobar with that big leg kick.
Too far inside, 2-0. Showing bunt, takes strike one. On base percentage for Podsednik in this series is .424. Not close, 3-1. In this series, the bullpen work done by the Angels over 17 innings, and we've been talking about the 2/3 put up by the White Sox way back in game one. That's low, and that's a one-out walk. Go-ahead run is on for the White Sox in the seventh.
Bud Black out to talk to Escobar. I'll tell you what was strange about that sequence was that 2-1 pitch. 3 fastballs ran the count to 2-1. And it looked like a splitter on that 2-1 count, and then he missed with the 3-1 pitch. I mean, Podsednik's a guy you've got to challenge and make him hit the ball. As you said, Lou, with the high leg kick, look for him to run.
That could be part of the discussion right now between Black, Escobar, and Benji Molina.
But Sednick working the ground around first base, trying to get some footing so he can run.
Podsednik last night stole 2.
Here's where the second hitter in the lineup, Iguchi, has got to have some patience and allow Podsednik to run if he chooses to.
We should see a lot of this.
You might even see a pitch out in this sequence.
Sednick trying to measure Kelvin Escobar. Against Escobar, opponents were successful 5 of 8 times trying to steal during the regular season. Fastball misses inside.
I think Escobar's best defense, outside of the pitch out obviously, is holding the ball and ruining the base runner's timing. Tim Raines over there helping these base runners. What a base stealer he was.
Pretty big lead by Podsednik, who at one point last night, like he was thrown out, picked off, but the safe call was given by Ed Rapuano. Then a stolen base followed, and Podsednik scored a run. He has a big lead at first. He's going. They pitch out. Molina's throw. Backed up by Kennedy, and even with the pitch out, Scott Podsednik steals second, and there's the go-ahead run with only one out in the seventh.
Pitch out is right there, but a very poor throw by a guy who can throw well, but has not thrown well in this series. He tried to rush the throw. Two things bad happened to the Angels with that play. They fall behind in the count to Iguchi 2-0, and they don't get the runner.
4 for 7 in the postseason, and now a hit could give the White Sox the lead back here in Game 5. 2-1 on Iguchi. Tadahito has 4 RBIs in this postseason, has not driven in a run in the ALCS.
Adam Kennedy and Orlando Cabrera talking things over at second base. Remember, we said last night Podsednik had stolen third base 18 of 19 times this year.
So they're trying to keep him close.
Yeah.
The 2-1 on the inside corner, 2-2. On deck is Jermaine Dye. You can see why Iguchi didn't like that call. Go ahead run at second, 1 out. Top of the 7th, and Iguchi takes inside. It's 3-2.
He's really working Iguchi hard in on his hands.
El Duque still getting loose in the bullpen for Chicago. The 3-2 pitch. Iguchi strikes out. 2 down.
Now that's a very difficult pitch to hit after you've had 3 or 4 93, 94 miles an hour fastballs in on your hands.
Splitter going straight down.
The illusion of the strike.
So Iguchi is gone, and now it's Dye, who's had a nice night. 2 out of 3, including a 2-out RBI double back in the 5th to score Uribe and put the White Sox out in front. The Angels got 2 in the bottom of the 5th to take their first lead since Game 1.
With 2 outs now, I wouldn't be too concerned about holding the base runner. I'd be holding my position if I were an infielder. In fact, if he stole third, I wouldn't even throw. I'd just hold the ball, make sure that my third baseman could field a ground ball if it's hit that way.
0-1 the count on Dye. A pop up back behind the plate, out of play, strike 2.
How many times, Timmy, have you seen a base runner stealing third? Third baseman covers the bag. Ground ball goes right through the third base hole.
That's what Tony La Russa did not do in the first game of the League Division Series, and it paid off for him with Edward Nunez at third base.
The 0-2. Dye strikes out. And the tag to end the inning. Joe Crede ties it in the 7th, takes Escobar deep. 3-3, Game 5. Time to stretch. Our Nissan game summary. 3-3, bottom of the 7th inning now. Contreras and Bird, the 2 starters. Contreras still out there. Crede just tied it in the top of the 7th with a solo shot. Figgins scored his first run of this series in a 2-run 5th inning. And Guerrero still struggling now, 1 for 19. Our Pepsi fan cam with the Go-Go Sox music from 1959. And the Sox fans here in Southern Cal.
White Sox, go, go, White Sox. Let's go, 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 White Sox. We're with you all the way. You're always in there fighting and you do your best. We're glad to have you out here in the Middle West. We're gonna root, White Sox and cheer you on to victory.
46 years ago, the last time the White Sox were in the World Series.
It sounds like 59 music, too.
2 years after Splish Splash, I think. Really? I think so. Bobby Darin. Frankie Avalon.
That year, the White Sox lost to the LA Dodgers in 6 games. And it's been talked about plenty. Last time they won it all, 1917, they defeated the Giants. So it's been 88 years. The White Sox are 1 win away from getting to the World Series. But it's 3-3, bottom of the 7th, and Juan Rivera is first up for the Angels. Then Kennedy and Figgins. Ball 1 low.
White Sox playing unusual defense with Creedy and Uribe. Look how Uribe is really opening up that hole to the left, looking for Juan Rivera to pull. Creedy off the line at third.
Two and 0. 87 pitches on the night for Contreras as El Duque continues to loosen for the White Sox. Rivera hit 15 home runs during the regular season. And he grounds to short right at Uribe. 1 out. And Kennedy, the number 9 man, who's been such a big part of the Angels' attack tonight, will step in. Game 5 NLCS tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Chris Carpenter and Andy Pettitte. Astros trying to get to the World Series. For the first time. Kennedy, strike 1. Talk about having a battle-tested pitcher to take the ball for you in a potential clinching game. That's what the Astros have tomorrow night with Pettitte, who has been an October star for the Yankees for so many years. Kennedy into left field. Podsednik, 2 out.
Yeah, Pettitte's been a big game pitcher.
Here's Sean Figgins, who is 1 for 2. His biggest swing of this series came in the 5th. With his team down 1. Kennedy on. They put the hit and run on, and Figgins hit it down the right field line for an RBI double. And then scored after being moved over by Cabrera on a sac fly by Anderson. That lead was erased in the home run by Creedy in the top of this 7th off Escobar. Now Cliff Polite, Neil Kotz are getting loose for the White Sox. Hernandez sits down, 2-0.
I would be taken here if I were Figgins.
Contreras has walked 2. He does, and it's 2-1. White Sox in the 8th will have Konerko, Everett, and Rowan. The heart of their lineup. That's ball 3. Figgins pops it up. Long run for Podsednik and Uribe. Neither can get there. It's a foul ball. So Figgins has a life back to the plate with a full count.
Sednick was playing Figgins quite deep there.
Still is. Probably too deep. Again, that off-fielder for a guy with not a lot of power the other way.
Back to Contreras. The Angels go in order. This game goes to the 8th. Game 5. White Sox will bat up 3-1. There's Konerko leading it off in the 8th. Tonight, 0 for 3. 2 home runs in this series, both coming here at Angels Stadium. Games 3 and 4. First inning shots. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's a decision here for Ozzie if he gets on base, whether he'll pinch run for him or not.
There are the career numbers for Konerko against Escobar. It includes a home run, but a 190 average. 1-1 pitch. That's to the right side and out of play, strike 2.
We were talking between innings about what the Angels are going to try to do with Konerko. He's just missed a home run his last 2 at-bats. In the 4th inning and in the 5th inning. Angels trying to come inside. He looked like he was guessing inside with that fastball, couldn't get around on it.
That foul ball splattered some beer in the stands.
Yeah. Konerko gets 2 points. 1-2 pitch. Just able to get a piece.
Last 2 at-bats for Konerko in the 4th inning. Fastball just missed inside. In the 5th inning, fastball just missed inside.
A little better swing at the second one, too.
1-2 pitch. Meanwhile, here are the White Sox, who are playing in the 8th inning of the 3rd game between these 2 clubs. The middle part of this ALCS, they have not made a move for anybody off their bench or anybody out of their bullpen.
Well, they used Ozuna one time to pinch run, didn't they, Joe?
Back in Chicago. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Konerko 2-2. Konerko, Everett, and Rowan, 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the White Sox. Just missing a full count.
That Konerko so conscious of that ball inside. The fastball away just a wee bit low.
Konerko with a full count. Both of his home runs have come on a full count in this series. And this time he's fooled with a splitter, 1 away. 4 outs for Escobar, 4 strikeouts.
Splitter goes down to get Konerko.
Great pitch. It was a strike if he had taken it.
That's the thing. Often the best splitters are out of the strike zone.
Here's Everett. Carl 1 for 3. 23 home runs for Everett during the regular season. Has not gone deep in the postseason. Ball 1. 3-3 in the 8th. The Angels will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Cabrera, Anderson, and Guerrero in the bottom of this inning.
He had intentions of going deep there.
93 miles an hour and past the bat of Everett. Two and 1. Coming into this series, Mike Scioscia liked his bullpen configuration better in 2005 than he had when they won it all in 2002. And he has relied heavily on those arms down there. That includes Escobar, his 2-1. 2-2.
Fastball swing at a split finger fastball.
Another strikeout for Escobar. 5. Tonight's starter, Paul Bird, likes it. With the bases empty, here is Rowan. He has doubled and scored, lined out, grounded out. Ball 1. Ball 2. Two balls and a strike on Rowan.
Boy, after giving up that leadoff home run to Creedy, Escobar has really settled down.
Fastball jumping and the split finger pitch is diving. Rowan can't get around on it. 2-2. .95 miles per hour from Escobar. Former closer and starter with Toronto, started this season in the rotation for the Angels. Had surgery, didn't come back to the active roster until after the beginning of September. Full count. Benji Molina, the way he caught that pitch, might have cost Escobar a strike.
Well, it's a splitter. You're anticipating it down in the strike zone. It stays up, it fools you.
Boy, that's what you call a picture of concentration.
A 2-out walk. The go-ahead run is on with Pierzynski coming up. Second walk issued by Escobar. And Pierzynski, who homered last night, 0 for 2 with a bunt tonight.
Well, Rowan with 16 stolen bases on the year is going to try Molina.
Escobar's nemesis, Creedy, is on deck.
It's a good time to do it, to try to steal with the left-handed hitter up there. It's a lot tougher to pitch out with a left-hander up there and to throw. Can't see the runner at first. Plus the high leg kick. A lot of things in Rowan's favor right here.
The White Sox with 5 stolen bases in this series.
The shortstop will be covering here, so that shortstop hole will be open.
That huge hole on the left side of the infield for Pierzynski. And now a visit from Bud Black as K-Rod. Francisco Rodriguez loosens for the Angels in their bullpen.
Bud's probably telling him, look, you've really got to concentrate on this hitter.
We look ahead to tomorrow night. Houston, the Astros trying for a win and a trip to their first World Series behind Andy Pettitte against Chris Carpenter. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Will this series live past tonight? Ball one outside.
I think he's getting the closer up just in case this Pierzynski gets on. The problems that Escobar has had with Creedy, I wouldn't be surprised to have that closer in the ball game.
Rodriguez has not appeared since game 1. Off Escobar's backside. And they're going to call him out. And it looked like Escobar tagged him with a glove and had the ball in his bare hand.
You're right. I think they're going to get help on this. And the correct call is he was safe. He tagged him with the empty glove, had the ball in his bare hand.
The Angels are coming off the field, and these fans believe the inning is over. And I believe if any of those umpires saw what we saw from the booth, it should be 2 on with 2 out.
Well, the home plate umpire had the best shot.
I mean, that's not even close.
No, he's obscured by the runner.
And the inning will continue, and they got the call right.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Despite all the problems that the umpiring crew has had, and now Mike Scioscia is going to come out and argue, despite all the problems that this group has had, and even though this one goes against the Angels, there is no doubt that they got this call right. A good pickup, by the way, by Erstad just to keep the ball on the infield.
Right.
And keep the runners at first and second. And I think some of Mike Scioscia's frustration will bubble out here. But they got the call right.
Escobar picked the ball up with his bare hand. It looked like he was trying to put the ball in the glove, took it back out and tagged him with the glove hand. And the ball obviously arrived at first base too late, but you're right. I mean, they absolutely got that call right.
And it's Pierzynski in the middle of it again.
For the 3rd time.
Well, now we're going to have Creedy coming to the plate, and we may see Scioscia just stay out there and make a pitching change.
Yeah, what has just happened has given K-Rod a chance to warm up.
All Escobar had to do was either pick it up and tag the runner Pierzynski or flip it to first base, but he tried to tag Pierzynski with the glove with a ball in his bare right hand.
I can understand him not going to first base. I think he thought that the runner was going to obscure the play. And that's why when he went to tag him, he got all messed up.
It's an error on Escobar, and it's the end of the night for Escobar. Francisco Rodriguez is coming in. Joe Creedy is coming up with 2 on and 2 out. Tie game, 8th inning. American League Championship Series Game 5. The White Sox up 3-1, Angel Stadium. Creedy, 2 home runs in this series. He homered in the 7th to tie the game. Kennedy's had a nice night. The team scoring first has won the first 4 games. The White Sox scored first tonight. Now Francisco Rodriguez takes over with a go-ahead run at second. 2 on, 2 out. And Joe Creedy, a hero for the White Sox already in this series, at the plate. And Rodriguez, who has not pitched since game 1 on Tuesday night, deals low and away ball 1.
And predictably a curveball. In the postseason, about 80% of his pitches have been curveballs. And with Creedy up there, a home run has last at bat. I wouldn't anticipate him going away from that pitch.
A high strike. It's 1-1.
Went to the fastball to even the count. But if you're Creedy, you've got to sit on that breaking ball, don't you?
I think so, Timmy. He's going to get the breaking ball here.
2 on, 2 out, 3-3 game in the 8th. Went after it, and it's 1-2.
He's going to get another one with 2 strikes.
I think you're right. Good block by Molina.
Joe Creedy, who made the last out against Rodriguez in game 1, with a tying run on, and the 3-2 Angels win.
As
Waits
a hitter,
for a 1-2 pitch.
As a hitter, you want to wait on this breaking ball and drive it to right center field if you can.
Ed Rapuano, the home plate umpire, shaking his head as Rodriguez asks if that curveball was too high. And it was. Rodriguez trying to bail the Angels out of an 8th inning jam. Full count, and the runners will go.
Well, he missed with a 2-2 fastball. And again, if you're going to give up runs right here, you've got to give them up on your best pitch. And his best pitch in the postseason has been the breaking ball.
That's exactly what Benji's out there talking to him about.
Right, yep.
And if the Angels are going to go down here in game 5, they're going to go down with their best on the mound.
Right.
And that's Rodriguez. Up the middle. Kennedy stops it, pops up, flips it to the plate, and the White Sox have taken the lead. Creedy again. A 3-2 breaking ball, and Creedy knocked it up the middle to put Chicago out in front.
Now you just know Joe Creedy was looking for a breaking ball. He got it in the middle of the plate, and Rodriguez couldn't knock it down. Kennedy knocked it down, but was in no position to make a strong throw. Throwing from one knee, and the White Sox take the lead again.
Yeah, the runner was going on the 3-2 pitch, and that allowed him to score on that ground ball up the middle.
The reaction by the White Sox bench, including Ozzie Guillen, is now Chicago's out in front of the 8th. The inning continues. 2 on, 2 out for Uribe. And Creedy has delivered again for the White Sox. If you want to talk about Konerko's power in the first 2 innings, or the first inning of the last 2 games, that's one thing. And the starting pitching by the White Sox, that's certainly another. But Creedy has come up for this White Sox team and made the most of his chances against the Angels. Ball 1 from Rodriguez. Creedy won game 2. He tied this game last inning. And now his infield hit puts Chicago back in front. 2-0.
And let's give Joey Cora, the third base coach for the White Sox, some credit there for keeping the runner coming around third and sending him home. Because the base runner is going to get the cue from the third base coach in that instance.
Especially with the ball behind him.
Two on, two out, a 2-0 pitch to Uribe. 3-0. Now it's Neil Kotz, the left-hander, and Bobby Jenks, the closer, the right-hander, getting loose for the White Sox in their bullpen. And now Rodriguez can't throw a strike. That loads the bases. A hit and a walk to greet Rodriguez. And the bases are loaded for Podsednik, who's walked twice. You think of how this inning was so close to being over for the Angels with that play off the mound on the ball hit by Pierzynski. But the tag with the empty glove by Escobar keeps the inning alive after the initial out call. Then the pitching change, the RBI infield hit by Creedy to put Chicago out in front, and now to walk to Uribe to load the bases with 2 out for Podsednik. Ball 1. Big bats coming up for the Angels in the bottom of this 8th. Cabrera, Anderson, and Vladimir Guerrero. A 1-0. 1-1. Podsednik. These pitches aren't close, and Rodriguez slipped after letting go of that pitch. 2-1. Podsednik pops it up behind the plate, and it will get back and out of play. 2-2. Creedy has driven in 3 of the 4 runs tonight. He's down at second. He's got Uribe at first. Pierzynski at third, 2 out. And a 2-2 pitch coming to Podsednik. Wouldn't chase it, full count. And Podsednik has shown a great eye the last 2 nights. He's walked 5 times the last 2 games.
That's why the breaking ball on a 2-2 count with the bases loaded is a dangerous pitch. Going down and out of the strike zone. Now he's got to throw the fastball. That's the pitch that he has consistently gotten over.
Runners go. 3-2 pitch. Curveball got him looking. You talk about confidence in your curveball. One way or another, the White Sox are getting it done night after night. The inning continued on that error by Escobar. Creedy makes the most of another chance and puts Chicago on top in the 8th. Well, look who's back out on the mound for the White Sox. Starter Jose Contreras. 95 pitches into this game. He has a 1-run 8th inning lead. Orlando Cabrera first up. Ball 1. Contreras threw 102 pitches in game 1. Pitch number 97 is grounded to short. Uribe to his left. 1 down. Tonight's Dell defining moment of the game as we play here in the 8th inning. In the top of this 8th, with 2 out, Pierzynski hits it off the backside of Escobar, who tags Pierzynski with an empty glove. After Pierzynski was first ruled out, the umpires got together, overturned the call, and what followed was another big hit by Joe Crede. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Here is Garrett Anderson. Ball 1.
Joe, as you pointed out, is that remarkable for A.J. Pierzynski to be involved in all 3 controversial plays in the postseason? Unbelievable.
Anderson takes low 2-0. He was involved in the no call on the catcher's interference. Of course, the swing and the miss in game 2. Awarded first base by going down the line. And then that play on the tag by Escobar that kept the inning alive for Joe Crede. 2-1 now on Anderson.
And you got Konerko guarding the line.
Third baseline is wide open for Anderson, who's up on the count, 2 balls and a strike. On the outside corner, 2-2. Anderson off the end of the bat into center for Rowan. 2 out. And now the Angels send Vladimir Guerrero to the plate with the bases empty. And Guerrero is 1 for 19 in this series. You compare his struggles to what Dave Winfield went through back in 1981 with the Yankees. 3 RBIs. Guerrero 1 run driven in and an .053 average. The Yankees lost the World Series that year to the Dodgers 4-2. Guerrero is jammed and he grounds to Iguchi. A 1-2-3 inning for Jose Contreras. Could it be another complete game for the White Sox? Saws off Vladimir Guerrero. 9th inning, game 5, 4-3 Chicago. Ozzie Guillen on your left, Mike Scioscia on your right. It appears Guillen is going to send Jose Contreras back to work as a breaking ball drops in from Rodriguez to Iguchi. Jerry Reinsdorf, 25 years in charge of this organization. In the blue shirt in that box, won 6 world championships with the Chicago Bulls. But his first love is baseball. And his Chicago White Sox are 3 defensive outs away from their first pennant in 46 years.
He's got Eddie Einhorn there also, one of his co-owners.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Iguchi takes strike 2. You cannot make the mistake of thinking that just because Jose Contreras defected and popped up with the Yankees in 2003 that he's not used to high-pressure, big-game situations. He went through plenty of those games with a Cuban national team. That's high. The history of Caribbean baseball dates back as far as baseball here into the mid-19th century. And those games are as important to the folks in Cuba and in the Caribbean as baseball is here to us.
A lot of national pride at stake.
And as we mentioned earlier, as part of the Cuban national team, Contreras 117 wins, 50 losses and a 2.82 career ERA. And the bullpen once again is quiet for the White Sox. And a leadoff walk from Rodriguez. Leadoff man is on. Fans, we ask you to join Major League Baseball in our efforts to rebuild the Gulf Coast. Support Habitat for Humanity by calling 1-800-HABITAT or logging on to MLB.com or Habitat.org. Second walk handed out by Rodriguez, who looks like he's overthrowing everything. Here's Jermaine Dye, 2 for 4.
Even throwing so hard, he's spinning around on the mound after releasing it.
A check on Iguchi. Bullpen still quiet for the White Sox. They've had Jenks up. They've had Kotz up. It'll be Erstad, Molina, and Kochman for the Angels in the bottom of this ninth. And that's up and in, a ball to Jermaine Dye. I mean, Rodriguez looks like he's going 100 miles an hour out there. And he has lost his control. Pitching control.
Well, Gucci with 15 stolen bases, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take a shot here.
1 ball, 1 strike.
One of the toughest things about the playoffs, the World Series, postseason baseball, is to try to slow things down. So hyper.
Well, when he gets in trouble during the course of the season, that's what gets him in trouble, trying to overthrow.
There's 1-1 to Dye. Up and away, 2-1. He's got that high leg kick. We've talked a couple of times already this postseason that you can certainly run against Rodriguez. Iguchi stole 15 during the regular season. Has not attempted one during the postseason. See if he goes on 2-1. Iguchi is running. The pitch low, the throw down, sails and safe as the ball trickles away. Umpire called him out, but the ball wasn't even in the glove of Kennedy. The umpire, Jerry Crawford, saw it and then overturned his own call, and Iguchi steals second.
Yeah, had Kennedy held on to the ball, he would have been out, and I think Jerry Crawford looking at Kennedy first and then the ball trickling behind second base.
Molina's had a couple good opportunities to throw base runners out.
He's got to be hurting.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Rodriguez deals and Dye takes. And it's a full count. They have given Adam Kennedy an error.
That's a tough error.
It's a real tough error. The ball and the runner were there at the same time. So it goes down as caught stealing. E4. All the White Sox care about is they have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. The 3-2 pitch coming to Dye. Another walk by Rodriguez. He looks like he's having trouble with his footing out on the mound as well. That's 3 walks that Rodriguez has handed out.
You think about where those curveballs are going. They're going up and into right-handers. They're going low and away to right-handers.
No release point.
No.
Now Konerko, 2 on, nobody out. Ball hitless tonight. 5 of 20 in this ALCS. Ball 1.
Surprised a little bit that Bud Black's not going out there to try to settle him down some.
Now as we look down in their bullpen, they start to stir because Rodriguez isn't right tonight. 2-0.
That's an example of what we were talking about. The first pitch low and away, 6 inches outside, the next one up and in. Then the Donnelly now will be warming up.
There's Bud Black going out there now.
Just to talk about the other side, forget about the postseason. The last time the White Sox had 4 straight complete games, you go back to August of 1974. Wilbur Wood, Jim Cott, Bart Johnson, and then Wilbur Wood again. That is what the White Sox are trying to accomplish on the mound with a combination of Burley, Garland, Freddie Garcia, and tonight, Jose Contreras. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Canerco hits it deep to right. Back is Guerrero at the wall. It's off the wall. Higuchi will score. Dye is held at third, and it's a 2-run White Sox lead. Canerco with an RBI double.
You're struggling with your control against a guy as strong as Paul Canerco, knowing he has to come in with a fastball, and that free swing, rocking it off the right field wall.
First base open here. I'd be careful to Everett.
Infield comes in. Carl Everett waits. Strike one.
I guess the case against that, Lou, would be, he's so wild out there. If you end up pitching around Everett, then you have the bases loaded again.
Well, you've got Donnelly warmed up in the bullpen also.
Yeah.
That foul tip caught Molina. And he shakes out his left hand. Ed Rapuano, the home plate umpire, gives him time. It's a cool, obviously wet night in Anaheim. And the Chicago White Sox trying to end it tonight. Up by 2 in the ninth and a chance for a couple more. Lou, you and I were talking prior to the bottom of the 8th that after that long layoff and Contreras sitting for as long as he did in the top half, you could certainly understand if Guillen went to the bullpen. He sent Contreras back out there, and now here we are again with a long top of the ninth. And action starts for the White Sox in their bullpen now. The 1-1. Strike 2 on Everett.
Well, thinking ahead, supposing they win this ball game here, Contreras has got a few more starts left in postseason.
The World Series, if the White Sox hang on, will begin on Saturday night on the south side of Chicago. Jenks and Kotz getting loose. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Everett. The White Sox doing damage against this vaunted Angels bullpen. Infield is in. Nobody out. 1-2 on Everett. Escobar ended up going an inning and 2/3. He allowed 2 runs. Only 1 earned because of his own error. And only the 1 hit. But he is on the hook. Now a run against Rodriguez. A chance for more. 1-2 pitch is looped down the right field line into the corner, foul. Is tonight the night that White Sox fans have been waiting for? Those old enough to remember 1959. A trip back to the World Series, and the White Sox trying to stamp their ticket here against the Angels.
Al Lopez, Tampa native.
97 years old. 97 years old.
What a great man he is.
Senor Lopez.
The manager of that go-go Sox team, and now the pitch in the dirt, throw down to first. One away. Rodriguez is trying to keep this within reach. It's 5-3, second and third, one out, and Rowan coming up. Second strikeout for Rodriguez. Die the runner at third. Canerco with an RBI double in the inning is at second. And the Angels will stick with Rodriguez. Ball one low.
Again, the infield in, but the White Sox with a 2-run lead in the ninth inning, second, third, one out. I think you send the runner even though the infield's in. You've got a lead. Taking more chances with the 2-run lead.
Breaking ball high again. 2-0 on Rowan. On 2-0. In the air to right, Vladimir Guerrero. Jermaine Dye tagging. The throw by Guerrero to the plate. Up the line. Another run. Out at third. The inning is over, but the run counts. Dye crosses the plate before the out at third, and it's a 3-run lead for the White Sox going to the bottom of the ninth inning. 3 outs away from an American League pennant. We move to the bottom of the ninth inning, and Jose Contreras will try to follow suit and do what Burley has done, what Garland has done, what Freddie Garcia did last night. Postseason fact, last time a team had 4 consecutive complete games, 1956. The World Series, the New York Yankees. They actually had 5 straight. And here is Darren Erstad first up for the Angels, who are down 6-3. Strike one from Contreras. Rain continuing to fall. Strike 2. The White Sox streak of 46 years between pennants is the second longest for their crosstown rival, the Cubs, who have gone 60 years. 60 years and counting since the last time they were in the World Series in 1945. Jenks and Kotz still getting loose. 0-2 is the count on Erstad.
Once again, this is the 5th game of this postseason series in only 2/3 of an inning by the bullpen.
Chopper to short, tough play. Uribe, what a good play by the Chicago shortstop.
Not only on the overspin hop, but the quick release.
It has been 16,825 days since the White Sox last won a pennant. They clinched it in 1959, September 22nd, against Cleveland. Strike one to Bengie Molina. Strike 2 to Benji Molina. Contreras smells that finish line, and he is driving toward it. Nothing but strikes. Until now, ball one. In the air to center. Rowand is there. 1 out away are the White Sox.
White Sox, go,
September 22nd, 1959.
White Sox.
And the clincher against the Cleveland Indians.
They're always in there fighting, and you
Manager Al Lopez.
We're glad to have you out here in the Middle West. We're gonna run
Tampa native, 97 years old.
White Sox.
They haven't been dancing like that on the South Side, celebrating a pennant since that year, 46 years ago. Casey Kochman, the last hope for the Angels to try to extend this game.
Louis Aparicio was in that shot, a good friend of Ozzie Guillen from Venezuela.
American League MVP that year, Nellie Fox, Cy Young Award winner, early win. Ground ball to first. The White Sox have won the pennant. Jose Contreras goes all 9. And the White Sox are going to the World Series. Don Cooper, the pitching coach, in the middle of that celebration. And how proud must he and Ozzie Guillen be of the job that their starting rotation has done in this ALCS. Look at these 4 starters and what they have done. A record of 4-1, a 2.23 ERA, held the Angels to a 179 batting average as a group, and threw 4 consecutive complete games to wrap it up.
Joe, I find it very interesting with Ozzie Guillen near the dugout, not joining the celebration now, but certainly he will later, allowing his players to celebrate, waving to the White Sox crowd behind their dugout.
Yeah, congratulations to the White Sox. Just
Absolutely.
a great season. And they've still got one more obstacle to pass. And the Angel organization, what a classy organization, what a great team they had this year. They just fell a little short. Congratulations to them also on a very good year.
The final swing, the final out of this ALCS, and it's Konerko who steps on the bag and has a hug for Contreras. "41-year-old Ozzie Guillen, Venezuelan-born manager, is taking the Chicago White Sox to the World Series for the first time since 1959. Congratulations to Jerry Reinsdorf. It's off to the Fall Classic. A 6-3 final behind the power pitching of Jose Contreras. our Chevrolet player of the game. As you look at Ozzie Guillen, the hitting star tonight for the Chicago White Sox, Joe Crede, who knocked in 3 runs tonight. And in recognition of his outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Chevy, an American revolution. Crede tied it in the 7th and put the White Sox on top for good in the 8th. And let's go down to Chris Myers.
Carl Everett hugging Scott Pozendik. Chicago weather. Scott, you just won the ALCS. You're not going to Disneyland. You're going home for the World Series. Congratulations.
The Chicago White Sox are going to the World Series. I love every one of those guys behind me. I love every one of them. From day one, we went out and battled, gave it everything we had. Heart, character, that clubhouse is full of it.
The starting pitching, tremendous. The timely hitting, good defense.
Our pitching has set the tone for us from day one. They don't have words to describe what our starting staff has gone out and done this series. They've set the tone for us from day one. They deserve the credit for this series, no question about it.
All right, enjoy. We'll see you in the locker room. Hey, AJ, real quick, in the middle of a lot of controversy, obviously this team, once again tonight, but you guys worked your way through it.
We find a way to get it done. I mean, this team's amazing. The way we pitch, wow, 4 complete games in a row, and we find just enough hits. And, I mean, wow, I got to tip my hat to the Angels. They played great, but this is unbelievable.
And one of the newer members of this team, what does this mean for the city of Chicago?
Oh, it's great. Hopefully we get home, have about a bunch of people there. We can shake some hands and get ready for a World Series in Chicago. It's been a long time.
Congratulations, AJ. All right, Joe, up to you.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Joe Crede in this ALCS hit .368, drove home 7 against the Angels. And riding that phenomenal starting pitching, off go the White Sox to the World Series. Congratulations, Ozzie Guillen.